of the useful things we're going to be able to do using this technique of completing the square is to solve quadratic equations that we were not able to solve by factoring. So, for example, let's suppose we want to solve the quadratic equation 2x squared minus 10x plus 7 equals 0. Now, a little bit of thought will tell us that we aren't going to be able to solve this by factoring. We aren't going to be able to find two numbers whose sum is negative 10 and whose product is positive 14. There just aren't any numbers like that. But we can solve this by completing the square. Let's see how. Our first move is to get our equation into this form. X squared plus a constant times x equals a number. Notice the x squared has no coefficient. We're going to need to get rid of the coefficients in this step. So how are we going to do that here? Well, we start with 2x squared minus 10x plus 7 equals 0. We need to get rid of the 7, so we'll subtract that on both sides. We also need to get rid of this coefficient, which means we need to divide both sides by 2. 2x squared divided by 2, that's going to be just x squared. Minus 10x divided by 2, that's going to be minus 5x. And negative 7 divided by 2, well, that's just negative 7 halves. All right, so now we've got it. The form x squared plus bx equals a number. B in this case then is negative 5. Our second move will be to add some constant to both sides to complete the square. So we're going to want to add some constant to both sides, which will complete the square. That is, we will then be able to write the left-hand side as x plus or minus something squared. And then on the right-hand side, we'll have whatever this total works out to. All right. So we just need to figure out what goes here and what goes here. How will we do that? Well, we'll have our x squared. We'll split our negative 5x evenly between these two boxes. I see negative 5 halves x in each box. So this box is x by x. This one will be x by negative 5 halves. This one also x by negative 5 halves. And so this box will have negative 5 halves times negative 5 halves is 25 fourths. The constant we'll add to both sides is 25 fourths. And then this left-hand side will be x minus 5 halves, all squared. All right. I've got negative 7 halves plus 25 fourths, and I need to do this arithmetic. I'm going to use my calculator. I'm going to make sure that my mode is set to give me improper fractions, not mixed numbers. And then I'm going to just say negative 7 halves plus 25 fourths. All right, it'll give me my answer as a decimal. To get a fraction, I hit the math button and select the first option. I have 11 fourths. Hey, what do we have here? We now have an equation that says something squared equals, well, in this case, a positive number, which is good. What can we do now? We can use the square root property. Remember what that says. If x minus 5 halves all squared equals 11 fourths, that means either x minus 5 halves is the square root of 11 fourths, or it's negative the square root of 11 fourths. We can simplify this right-hand side real quick, noticing that my denominator is already a perfect square. The square root of 4 is 2. So this is just plus or minus root 11 over 2. And now we can just finish solving. Add 5 halves to both sides, and I get x equals 5 halves plus or minus root 11 over 2. Those are my solutions. Notice, again, this is 2 solutions. So that's not that bad, right? Let me give you one of these to try. Solve this quadratic equation by completing the square. Pause the video and try this now. All right, so first we need to get the form x squared plus bx equals some number. We'll start by subtracting 6 from both sides and get 3x squared minus 18x equals negative 6. We also need to get rid of the coefficient 3. So we'll divide both sides by 3 and get x squared minus 6x equals negative 2. Now we're going to add some constant to both sides to complete the square. Let's see, what should the constants here be? Splitting the negative 6x evenly between these two boxes, I've got a negative 3x and another negative 3x. X by x, x by negative 3, x by negative 3. Negative 3 times negative 3 is positive 9. So we'll have a positive 9 here, a positive 9 here. What am I squaring? X minus 3. And that equals negative 2 plus 9 is positive 7. Now we'll use the square root property and say x minus 3 is plus or minus root 7. That is x equals 3 plus or minus root 7. Notice 7 is a prime number, so we certainly can't simplify that square root.